It's that time again for another installment of my 2015 NFL Mock Draft Series. Week 17 is done. The regular season is done. So the first 20 picks are officially locked into place. So it helps me a little bit when starting to really formulate my mock drafts. Now, granted, again, even with it just being the beginning of January, I need to assure you that over the next almost 4 months, there are going to be many dramatic changes to my mock, especially as I spend more time researching individual players as the playoffs play out and the off-season free agency plays out. A lot of what you see now is very fluid, is very liquid, is going to change dramatically. I assure you of that. You can check out my 3-round mock, though, in the description box down below. The big thing I wanted to hit on today, though, is that as I've been going through and preparing myself for the 2015 NFL Draft, is I've noticed certain prospects that I just don't get it, and I just don't see it, and I just don't understand in particular why so much of the media, in particular the so-called NFL draft experts that should know better, why they consistently every year seem to overrate certain guys. Like there are certain guys that I'm just watching as I'm preparing myself for the NFL draft at the end of April. And I'm like, what the hell are they seeing that I'm not seeing? There are just those certain guys that I see being talked about by many members of the NFL draft media as first-round picks, and I'm saying, what the hell are you watching? What are you seeing that I'm not? A perfect example to me is Randy Gregory, the outside linebacker / defensive end from Nebraska. I've seen for months and months now, this guy being projected as a top 10, maybe even top 5 pick. I've seen certain mocks where he's been a top 3 pick. And I just sit there and I ask myself, why? What does Randy Gregory have that is such a special skill that necessitates him being such a high pick? I don't see it. I don't get it. Yes, I'll acknowledge he got a lot more attention from opposing offenses in 2014 than he may have in 2013. But where are the special skills and where is that elite athleticism that would necessitate a guy like him being a top 10 or even top 5 pick? I just don't see it. In a draft class loaded with edge rushers, especially 3-4 edge rushers, what makes Randy Gregory so star-spangled awesome better than everybody else? Maybe some of y'all can clue me in on what I'm missing, but to me, he reminds me some of Devante Moore. He reminds me some of the other defensive prospects that have been drastically overrated by the NFL draft media in recent years during the actual NFL season before the draft season even really kicks in. The Devante Moores of the world, the Bjorn Werners of the world, guys like that, the Michael Johnsons of the world, the Daquan Bowers of the world. These were all guys at one point in time that we were talking about being top 3, top 5, at worst top 10 picks. Devante Moore, 3rd-round pick. Michael Johnson, 3rd-round pick. Daquan Bowers, 2nd-round pick. Bjorn Werner, late 1st-round pick. What is it about the NFL draft media where they overrate certain guys like this and they prop them up on a pedestal when it seems like after all of these years of covering this, they still don't understand how the NFL draft process works? They should know better by now. Yeah, Randy Gregory, I don't get. And then I look at the offensive tackle position, and for pretty much all year, I've seen where the top 2 offensive tackles in some particular order have been Cedric Obehe, the tackle from Texas A&M, and then Brandon Scherf, the tackle from Iowa. Now, if those are your top 2 tackles in this offensive tackle class this year, then that's an indication that this offensive tackle class is pretty weak. I'm not sure it is. But what I think it is more so is that the NFL draft media doesn't have a clue when it comes to offensive tackles, and in particular, what offensive tackles are going to be taken where. They just don't. When you look at Obehe, here's a guy that's not even for certain going to be a left tackle at the NFL level because he couldn't even really handle being a left tackle at Texas A&M. And when you look at the recent lack of great success of previous first-round picks from Texas A&M at left tackle, in particular with Luke Jokel, and to a lesser degree Jake Matthews, who played a little bit better as his rookie year went along, sure, but he doesn't look like an elite blindside protector like so many of the draft media envisioned he was and purported him to be heading into the 2014 NFL draft. Why in the hell would Obehe be on the same level as either one of those two guys in terms of draft position. At this point in time, why would scouts and executives look at this guy and view him as a top flight talent? He is not. Why has he been so drastically overrated? Same thing with Brandon Scherff from Iowa. Typically, Iowa offensive linemen tend to stick in the NFL, but they tend to stick at right tackle or guard, and primarily the reason is because they lack the lateral foot speed and they lack the arm length to be able to stick at left tackle at the NFL level. I look at Brandon Scherff and I look at him and I see guard, 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 and maybe even a right guard, not even a left guard. But you've got people that have been mocking him for months in the top 5 or top 10 of their mock drafts, referring to him as a left tackle, or maybe he'd have to flip over to the right side. Knowing damn good and well that a Scherff probably isn't going to work out well come combine time, and knowing damn good and well whether we agree with it or not, the combine matters. I see like Denzel Perryman, the inside linebacker from Miami. I see a 2-down inside thumper in a 3-4. But yet I've seen so many people mock him as a first-round pick. And to be fair, I've got him mocked in the first round here, but I doubt that's going to last much longer. What is it that people see that I don't see? Why are so many of these players able to get a reputation and the production and what you see on film clearly doesn't match that reputation, yet that NFL draft media continues to perpetuate that reputation? I just don't get it. And then the other thing I don't get is when talking about the quarterback prospects. You know, when there's all this assumption that Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston are the two franchise quarterbacks in this draft and they're both going to be big-time stars, they could be, but they could also be both tragic flops at the NFL level. What necessitates these guys being viewed as highly as they are at this point in time? Again, I'm not sure that I fully see it yet. I might at some point, but I don't see it yet. I don't. And then when it comes to the rest of this quarterback class, like at certain points at times, I've seen people rating Dak Prescott from Mississippi State as a late second to third round pick. I know he's going back to school. He needed to go back to school. You know who that motherfucker was? A slightly better version of Taj Boyd. There's no way in the hell that at this point in time, he's a second or third round prospect at the NFL level. There is no way on God's green earth. And then people looking at a Brent Hundley and projecting him as a second-round talent. Some people even putting him in their first round. What in the hell are you watching? What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? I see a better version of Logan Thomas, who was a fourth-round pick. It's astounding to me. The biggest reason I bring this up is over the next few months, you're going to see a lot of names move up draft boards that you didn't envision, because a lot of these NFL draft media don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And you're going to see some of these players that you've had it pounded down your throat for months with certain propaganda that they were this and they were that, drop much lower than what you thought they were going to be. And the reason is, again, because a lot of those NFL draft media don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And what's even more striking is they don't seem to understand how the draft process works, even though they experience it and see it each and every single year. So you can sit there right now and tell me my mocks are stupid or my mocks are idiotic, but I assure you of this, that in the next couple of months, I'm going to be a lot more on the money in terms of players moving up or down compared to a lot of the other so-called NFL draft experts that actually get paid for a living to talk about this crap. Seems to be something a little fundamentally wrong with that. But you can check out my 3-round mock now. I'll be back with another one in 2 weeks, I believe it'll be. Yes, in 2 weeks. I'll have another one up once more a little more of the playoffs starts to shake itself out. Maybe there will be one next week, but it'll probably be 2 weeks from now. It'll probably be a 2-round edition. But you'll see some changes in that one in 2 weeks too, because now that the NFL regular season is over and it's just playoff time, I can focus more on going back and watching prospects. I promise you there will be a lot of changes in my mock in 2 weeks. For sure. And you're going to see a lot of names that surprise you moving up and moving down. And that's the way it's going to be. And it will continue to be, because I can assure you in the first 2 rounds of this draft in April, you're going to see a lot of names in those first 2 rounds. You're going to be like, I don't know why the hell they're being drafted there. But that's the way the draft process works every year. Yet the NFL draft media every year just doesn't get it.